Bluming, which is the Menal from the Igud HaMalamdim, which sponsors all of this and has done so much tremendous amount of work that he has put into this, making the tests and sponsoring all the prizes. So I'm going to ask Rabbi Bluming to speak to everyone.
Rabbi Wolf. I'm going to tell you three short stories, they're true stories, but listen carefully. The first story is, there was a boy, we'll call him Chaim. He went through yeshiva like all your boys did. He went through Mesivta. He then came to Zal. When he came to Zal, in Zal you learn with the Chavrusa. And you have to be able to learn the Gemara yourself. Then you get a shir with many more things. But he didn't know how to learn the Gemara himself. Why? Because he never focused on the Befnim when he was going through Cheder. And so he knew to say, there's a Machlokes Abaya and Rava. I remember there was a question we spoke about different Tanoim and different Amiroim. He knew it, Baal Peh, but he didn't know how you read it inside. So what his Rebbe had to do was, he had to put him with a special person that learned with him for a whole year. And the second year of Zal is when he was able to start like a Zal Bacher. So Baruch Hashem, all you boys, by participating and the Mifsa Befinim, which makes an extra emphasis on looking inside, you'll be able to, B'tz Hashem, be matzliach and learn well in Zal. The second story is, there was the first year we did the Mifsa Torah, there was a boy in 6th grade, and he was so involved in the Mifsa. He was learning inside, looking inside, and it gave him such a geschmack in the learning, so he decided to do the whole Perek Baal Peh. So from Bifnim, when he decided to make such an emphasis on learning inside, eventually that brought that he did a Baal Peh also. Because when you build a building, you first have to build the first floors, and then you can build the upper floor. So Bifnim is like the first floor. Then you could do it Baal Peh also. The third story is about a big tzaddik, a great tzaddik, who lived about 60 years ago. The Rebbe actually once met him. He was a great tzaddik, did a lot of moifsim. His name was Rabbi Aaron of Belz. In his Beis Medrash once, a boy fell down from a very high place, and he fell on his head, and he was in danger of his life because his head got a big cut. And the Rabbi Aaron, the tzaddik, was in the Beis Medrash. So they went running to him right away. What should we do? We have to save this boy's life. So Rabbi Aaron took his finger and he put it on the boy's head, and the boy stopped crying, and in a short time he became all better. So they asked him afterwards, what was it that you had to put your finger? So I'm saying this story because one way to follow along Bifnim, sometimes boys think that it's babyish, but it's not, because even big Gedolei Yisrael, we saw the Rebbe doing it sometimes by Tehillim, is they point inside, because when you point inside, it helps you follow along much better. It's not a babyish thing, it's on the opposite. Big Talmidei Chachamim do it. Like I said, certain videos you see the Rebbe saying Tehillim like this. So Rabbi Aaron said, this is the finger that I always use when I point inside. When I learn, I use this finger to point inside the sefer. So my finger got a special power, and I was able to cure this boy's head. Now, I'm not saying all your fingers are going to have that power, but if you look inside, and especially when you hold your finger, it helps you to look inside Befnim, and then you grow up knowing how to learn, and you'll become big Talmidei Chachamim. You'll be able to look on the Gemara, or in a Maimer, whatever you learn, you'll know how to do it inside Befnim, and you'll give a lot of nachas to the Rebbe, to your parents, Be'ezras Hashem. So continue having much hatzlacha. I'm going to ask now